Hey, what's up, everybody? Oh, it's been a little bit since I've seen my face on camera. Anyway, so as I sit right next to this beautiful, these are called live oaks, I've been told. So yesterday, me and Mark, the buddy I talked about, he's the guy I originally went to Grace with like 3 weeks back. And when I showed up there with, her name was Soli, or that's what she wanted me to call her. Just the lady friend I was helping out. He was still there. He was still working on his van. And the day before yesterday, I was there, I didn't really help out, but I was just there in good company. He got his vehicle started again. It started running again. So yesterday morning, we were able to leave Grace after breakfast, which is a good thing. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because, I'm sitting here trying to develop a community. And, that's the one thing Grace was. It was a community, and I actually was, I was on good terms with a number of different people. A lot of them older cats. There was this one dude, Chris, who's actually from Oregon. He's in his 30s too. I don't know exactly how old he was, but he was a very similar, probably the closest. There was somebody else there who was 39, but I think Chris was closer to my age, 35. Anyway, he's a real good dude, and he's the one cat I also didn't get to say goodbye to. So I feel kind of bad about that, but he just wasn't there when I left. I know because he's got a car, and his car wasn't there. But I ended up befriending an older Cherokee gentleman by the name, he goes by Geronimo, and his name's actually the same as my name. His name's Brian. We got along really well. He was kind of bummed out I left because he wanted me to... He's got an issue with his son. He gave his son permission to be his payee, or I don't know how exactly all that works, but his son is his payee, which means his son gets his Social Security, his retirement, just whatever type of funds the government's sending him. They go to his son, and then it's, his son is supposed to give it to his father, but apparently his son's been fucking that up. Just doing whatever. I guess he's been giving Geronimo, I don't know, the last time he gave him $45, just like a lot. The guy's on drugs, he's lying, he's doing all sorts of silly shit. He doesn't get back to Geronimo, so there's a lot of that. I listened to a lot of his problems and just, did a lot of listening to a few different elders. And, Mark too, he's got his share of just war stories. You learn a lot from these people. So sometimes, even though it can be very trying on my patience just to sit there and, soak up other people's problems, essentially. That's what a lot of it, it's not all problems. There's good talks we had, but a lot of it is just listening to them and what they're going through and the frustration and trying to not necessarily solve it, but at least be there to hear it. And then, your energy has an effect on everything you're around. So if you're able to listen to these things and kind of just project a peaceful, okay, man, shit happens. You're here now, you're live. There are solutions and opportunities and different ways we can go about doing things so that you can get a different result. Like that type of aura. I just try to project that as well as I can. And I don't know, they seem to listen. So... it was kind of sad, leaving, those people that were listening. But I was also getting kind of burned out on they weren't listening, I was listening, sorry. But I was also getting kind of burned out, it's, I've spent a lot of time listening to people in my life. I really have, and I value it, and it's good, and it has its place. But for my own, well-being and just balance, I'm somebody that needs to spend a little bit more time talking. So there isn't too many people there I can really talk with about this or about myself and my situation, because I'm the only person. everybody's there by choice, but to really you know, Chris, I mean, and Mark, they're both like, you know, they have their own vehicles, they're nomads, they love to just travel and go from place to place and work where they can and keep it moving. But as far as like, you know, setting out on this for a righteous cause, like, I didn't meet anybody else like that. So it is kind of hard to relate to most people, especially in areas like that homeless shelter, where most of the people there are there because they have nowhere else to go. Absolutely nowhere. They have no money, they have no friends. Well, some of them have got checks coming in, but a lot of times they just spend those checks in the first week because there's just so many drugs there. I mean, the parking lot is literally like they got drug dealers there like 24/7. No bullshit. Like all the time, there's drug dealers. They're smoking crack. They're smoking meth. I remember one morning I woke up to people yelling at each other. Like this happens all the time. People just be screaming at each other like at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, right when the sun's coming up. You got people just screaming over shit. And a lot of times it's really, really, really petty stuff. Like a broken glass pipe or a lighter or fucking some silly name somebody called somebody else. Like really, really petty shit. These people fight fucking seriously over it. Very seriously. Like fucking blows and fucking screaming and just raw fucking desperate emotion. It's like they funnel all of their emotional fucking grief and angst and anguish that's accumulated throughout their whole life, and they funnel it and vent it into this one moment, and it gives them an opportunity to just explode and let it out. And I've done this too, you know, I mean, that's what happens a lot of times when we have outbursts. It's not really because of that one situation or conversation or episode that happened with somebody. It's an accumulative thing that happens over time, and it builds up and it builds up, and then finally when something breaks that straw on the camel's back, then the volcano erupts and all this comes out, all this emotion and all this movement and all this feeling. And you know, but people, they project this to others, and then the other person receiving it absorbs that, and then they take it as a slight, and then it turns into a bigger fight. This is why vengeance never works, you know, as alluring as it is, and it is, you know, to want to hurt somebody after they hurt you because you feel justified in doing it. It never solves anything. It just makes things worse. We've been living in that insane cycle for so long as humans. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Look where we're at now. You know? Hold on, this lighter is finicky. So anyway, so the past week it's been a lot of fucking, you know, a lot of drama, a lot of drugs. I mean, me being around a lot of drugs, like, and then I woke up one morning to somebody offered me a meth pipe, like just a fucking smoking glass pipe with meth in it. Like as soon as I wake up, he's like, "Hey, you want to hit this, man?" And you know, it's, you know, a lot of times when those type of drugs, like, people do that to get you hooked into the shit, and then you become an addict, and then they know you're going to be one more person they got fucking doing whatever they can to bring, you know, you money to purchase drugs. Now, I'm not saying that dude could have just been sharing meth out of the kindness of his heart. He could have been, but a lot of the times, because I didn't know this dude at all, I never talked to him, didn't know his name, nothing like that. He just showed up where I was sleeping, which was around a collection of people in the parking lot. And like I said, I woke up and he immediately just like walked over to me and fucking was offering me a hit out of this meth pipe, you know. And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good. I just fucks with I like herbs, you know, maybe a little bit of alcohol. That's it. That's my thing." So anyway, but there's a lot of that there, and and it's also positioned in an area of Gainesville that's just away from like everything else. So there's not much to do there. Like, they don't have an activity center, they don't have board games, they don't have chessboards, they don't have like a work program. They allow trash to be thrown all over the place. They allow these drugs. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like the last night we were there, I think it was a Friday night. The first time we had a cop come into the parking lot. They usually don't do. The cops come there every day, multiple times a day, all the time. Most of the time they just sit in their cars and look at shit. Sometimes they'll get out and walk around and talk to somebody if somebody had called them up for some particular reason, but most of the times they don't fuck with anybody else in the parking lot. But that night, the last night we were there, for whatever reason, I mean, another fight was about to happen, but again, these fights happen all the time there. For whatever reason, though, the cop decided to come around, and I was actually in Mark's van at the time, about ready to fucking roll up a doobie. And we had a cop come around and be like, hey, you know, you got to clear this parking lot out. And Mark was like, oh, okay, man, I just got my van going. Like, you know, I've talked with these people. They're cool with me here. I try to help out. Like, they know I've just been here because I've been broken down. And so the cop was cool with him. He's like, okay, go talk to the office and figure it out. And then he, you know, he asked, do you have any illegal drugs in there? And in his vehicle, Mark, you know, he said no. So me, upon hearing that, I gracefully exited the vehicle. And I took a little walk and into the woods. One thing I like about Grace, they do have woods like all around, so it's very scenic. And if you want to walk and you're willing to walk, you can go and find a nice quiet spot out in the woods. So I would do that, and I did do that. And but yeah, it was interesting how that last night the cop, you know, he came around and he was literally just scoping the scene and, you know, asking around and being much more involved in what the fuck is going on in Grace than I'd ever seen him before. So that's good, but it also took us for like a spin, because you're used to this setting where it feels like it's completely okay to get fucking as high as you want and nobody gives a fuck. And then all of a sudden you got cops coming around giving a fuck, you know. It's a little strange. So, but you know, everybody there is desperate, everybody there is hurting, everybody there, I mean, some like, the people that do work, you don't even hardly see them, because they leave early in the morning and they go to work. And then they come back usually later at night, and they're just doing their own thing. So they have their own routines. And so like most of the people that I saw were just the people that were there, who spend a lot of their time, you know, they fly signs to get money, and the place to fly signs there isn't very good. You know, so a lot of it's just like a wandering, desperate, zombie type march, trying to find cigarettes or whatever high, or do whatever hustle you can to get by. And so that's been a feeling that I've absorbed a lot of, you know, and I try to share cigarettes and listen to people and help out where I can. But you know, so anyway, Mark, it was definitely driving Mark bonkers, because he's a little bit more sensitive to people than I am, and he does have a vehicle and he's got stuff, so people, because he has a vehicle, they crowd around his vehicle and they ask him for things. And he'd also been there for 2 weeks longer than me, so I get it. He was ready to go, and I'm glad I left too, because first of all, just waking up to people fucking screaming all the time and fighting all the time is just not a good energy to be around, and it's something you got to worry about. It's in the morning, primarily in the morning, and at night. So a lot of times when you're trying to go to sleep, you got to worry about people fighting you. You got to worry about getting jumped. I mean, it's a very, very hostile environment. It's not safe there at all. And then they have this other tent drug area where it's just like all drugs, like maybe 100 yards away from actual Grace, where it's a collection of tents, you know, in this, I guess it's an abandoned field. I don't even know what the fucking type of property it is, but they allow these people just to camp there and get fucked up all the time. You know, so it's not just Grace. You have this other aspect of Grace out there that's full of just, it's a lot of tweakers, to be honest. A lot of crack and twack and molly is what it is. So anyway, we left, and like I said, you know, it is kind of sad, because I was getting to know people and developing, you know, kind of some friends and shit. But at the same time, I didn't have as much time to work on my project. I wasn't able to upload videos because their Wi-Fi is just so slow. It would take hours. I mean, like, it feels like hours to upload one video, and a lot of times I'll be uploading a video and my connection will just shut off for no apparent reason. And they have this small little computer room, but it feels like a dungeon, because this place was originally built as a prison for inmates. So like the whole structures of all the buildings are very much like a prison, or like a building designed to keep people locked in. So it's not a very healthy, fun, good feeling place to be in and spend a lot of time. So I didn't really like going in the computer room. A lot of the computers don't even work. So, you know, it's just, again, I'm complaining about shit, but, you know, we all have preferences. And McDonald's, you know, I mean, I can go in and out whenever the fuck I want. They got chargers there. They got a good Wi-Fi. There's various other places around here that I can upload videos and charge my phone. So yeah, you know, yesterday I spent some time on, I did do a little bit of panhandling yesterday. I made a little bit of money, not much. I'm gonna probably try to, you know, do a little bit more today, see how that goes. And I'm thinking, like, you know, I might even try, there's like 4 or 5 pizza jobs right here in this like mile radius that I might try applying to. You know, I spend so much time walking around and, you know, doing this and doing that and going through garbage cans. Like, it's a lot of energy. Like, my body's in pretty good shape, and like I see how these people move around in these, you know, establishments, and it's like, man, I could fucking probably, even if I was exhausted and my back was killing me, I could still perform these jobs. It wouldn't be too bad, and I'd be making good money without having to pay rent. And they leave food around all over the place, so it's not hard to feed yourself. As far as being homeless and without food and food stamps and all that, it's either that or I was thinking about going home again. You know, this morning I woke up just feeling kind of low, and like I said, like lonely and missing the community at Grace, but also not wanting to go back there for various reasons. So I felt kind of torn, and that's another thing I like about working. Like working at, you know, food places like this, like you get to know the people you're working with. You know, it's a team. You guys are getting shit done together. That's what I love to do. So not only would I be able to make money to provide for myself and fucking, you know, uplift myself financially and provide, like, you know, give me a fucking bicycle would be great, a computer would be great, some better clothes would be great, you know, just shit like that. Maybe spending one night in a hotel room, I don't know, just little things like that can help you, man. And I don't mind working for them, I really don't. I'm also continuing to move on. I'll make another video maybe today about some new ideas I have on the project. I've decided to move away from a completely non-profit organization. It's just hard. It was too hard for me to figure out how to implement that into this current society we live in while also paying the investors back. It just seemed like it was getting too complicated. I was trying to put too many different pieces together, and like the picture I was getting just wasn't fitting very well. So I've now decided to just offer very inexpensive goods. Like the gourmet place I used to work at, pizza place, they would charge fucking large cheese pizzas for $18 or so. Like expensive, 17, 18 bucks, over $15 for large cheese pizza. Does not cost very much to make a large cheese pizza. Not much at all, maybe $5. It's really not expensive at all. Bread is easy to make, tomato sauce is easy to make, cheese is going to be probably your most expensive ingredient. You know, 50% of it might go into the cheese. But again, you still don't need to charge $17 for a pizza. So my new thing is just to offer a very inexpensive quality goods. And then, you know, on everything that is profit, we will use the profit that we do make from these products into accounts to help out humanity, into accounts to help out starving children, into accounts to help out sex trafficking, into accounts to help out the homeless, into accounts to help out the mentally and spiritually and the physically ill. All these things, and developing new fucking technologies to help develop a new alternative infrastructure for us all to live in. That's where I want the money to go in. Like, it doesn't have to be nonprofit. It can just be it doesn't say we can't use profit. It just says the love of money is the root of all evil. So we just need a society that's not in love with money. So we can still charge things that are, I mean, that's another big problem I had with the whole idea. Is like, well, how do I come out with a fair amount? Like, how do I figure out what to charge hemp? Like, who puts the value on how much the hemp is really worth? Like, it's a good question. That's kind of was a deal breaker for me. I was like, I don't even know how to price, because you'd have to go into the manual labor that it takes. You'd have to go into like how much you're taking, the soil. There's a lot of different factors that would go into actually pricing a product, you know, and then to get it down to that raw non-profit fucking, you know, amount it was just too much. So instead of doing all that, I'm just gonna fucking take a look at the competitors, take a look at actually how much it costs, and come up with a very inexpensive fucking price, while still having the best ingredients we can provide for them. Hopefully most of them, if not all of them, grown on the land that we're allowed to grow on. And then, like I said, the extra money that we make, that is, you know, after we've covered all the utilities, the rent, then paying the investors back, all that will go into specific accounts. And I want this all to be open to the public. Like, there's certain churches that are known, they have good reputations because They put all of their donations on public record. They keep tracks of all the money they've got, where the money goes, and how they use it, to show just how, pure of heart they are, how they're not corrupt. There's not very many of them, but some of the really good churches, one in particular Joshua showed me to, Church of the King in New Orleans, this is what they do. And to be honest, that church is probably, I felt the most godly presence in that church than any church I've been to. Now, I haven't been to very many churches, so it's not much to say, but, it's no coincidence that they have that godly feeling while also having all of their books open to the public to see what they actually do with the money that they receive. So I want that to be a part of the program. I want people to be able to see and be an example of what we're doing with our profits. It's not going in to make the CEOs more money. It's not going in to make the investors more money. It's not going in to make the employees more money. No, it's going in to solve the problems of humanity and help expand this movement. So now that I've got that kind of twerked out, I'm working on a legit business plan that's starting small with a restaurant, bar, cafe, clothing, and miscellaneous herbal tincture shops, multi-purpose. Those things, and because of my pizza experience, I can spearhead the restaurant or the pizza really the kitchen, because that's where all my experience is. I've never been a waiter. I've always been a cook or a delivery driver in the pizza industry. But I know how to take orders and shit. I mean, it's not that hard. I could do that if I had to. But I know pizza kitchens. I know how to run them. I know how to keep a good flow. I know how to make pizzas good. I know how to make pizzas fast. I know how to keep things clean. I mean, I know pretty well. So, and people love pizza, man. It's all over the place, and you can make the dough out of fucking hemp. And you could do straight just vegetarian pizzas, or we could offer meat, but then that goes into where you get the meat from and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, I'm not so much focused on that as I am just getting, because cheese pizza is still good. You can make a really good vegetarian pizza. Margarita is just tomato, olive oil, garlic, basil, cheese, and it's delicious. It's one of my favorite pizzas. It's very, very simple. It has a very few ingredients on it, and it's delicious. So, things don't have to be as complicated and exquisite to be successful. So I'm trying to just simplify things a little bit, because I'm putting a lot of pieces together, and it's hard to do that sometimes. And the more you put together, the more you got to juggle everything around. And so it's good, especially when you're starting small, to just keep things, basic, simple, and stupid small, and stupid simple. It's just a saying. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit more advanced video on that, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I'm showing you guys some of the writing I've been working on, and also ideas in the generator center. I really want that to be part of the initial investment, because the generator center is going to help change, the whole world, because it will give people an alternative place to get their electricity that's away from this exploitative one, which is fucking up the earth. It's doing a lot of bad things. The oil is a finite resource that we continue to suck up every day. It's bad for the ozone layer. It's bad for the plants. It's bad for a lot of different things. And it's also going into this money-making machine. So on a number of different levels, it's bad. And you could design a generator center where people could just choose to come in and spend an hour or two working on it, doing exercise, whatever it fucking may be. And you could pay them money for their work, or they could just charge their laptops, their phones, their cars, their batteries, whatever it is that they need electricity for. They could just come in and charge it, instead of having to have these fucking monthly bills and to have this house and to have all these things, or to have to wait for McDonald's to open up. You could easily have this center available for everybody that wants to walk to there, and just have it open and have people work it. And they got to follow the reasonable common sense rules, which are pretty much the 10 Commandments. It's simple shit. It's nothing too crazy, man. Just having respect for yourself and others and the things that you're around. I mean, simple shit. It's common sense. Have those regulations that we all have to follow. Pick up your trash, simple shit like that, and give it away for the people to get their electricity without having to buy into all these fucking electrical companies. And then on top of that, you would be introducing them to a whole new way of doing things. And then you could also have, the farm area where they could work on the farm if they want to and get paid working on the farm. And then there's also going to be a cheap tent, trailer, and car camping area where you could just spend a little bit of money or work it off if you want to, and have a place to camp for the night. dwellings, hemp dwellings, and more advanced hemp buildings. All these things are going to come later on in the future as it grows. Like right now, we got to start small, and especially with me, like living on the earth and sleeping on the earth, you know, and being around other people who are sleeping on the earth. Like, it's not that big of a deal, especially when you live in a place like Florida, where you got pretty good weather year round. It's very easy, and I find it actually enjoyable to sleep in the open, you know, or in a little tent or a trailer, if you have a trailer, you know, whatever have you. And, you know, of course, one can work up to getting their own little trailer, or little tiny house, or just even a more advanced tent or dwelling if they want to. It's all up to their choice. And this would also offer people an alternative to living in the society that they live in right now. It would also give the homeless, those that want to actually work and live differently, because there's a lot of those people that I saw at Grace, a place to actually do that, to live and work differently and be around good company. And then the multi-purpose center is going to have entertainment, it's going to have education, it's going to have a kitchen, it's going to have a dining room, a communion area, a music playing area, you know, just kind of the basics that we all need, you know, little creature comforts to help us enjoy our day and get us through and give us something good to look forward to. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, now moderation is key with all these things. So for the time being, herbs are going to be allowed, but there's going to be a system to make sure that we don't abuse these herbs. Because, you know, as bravery and happiness is contagious, so is fear, so is addiction, so is fucking indulgence. So if we keep things, we need regulations. This is what government is. The word government is to govern things. Good government is good. Bad government is bad. So if we have good government with regulations that keep us aligned with the good way of doing things, the right way of doing things, the healthy way of doing things, then we're going to stay that way. But if we leave room open for those other things to come in the times that we're living in, with so much fucking time spent in sin, it's just bound to fucking grow again. So this is what we need. And I know I'm happier when I'm more moderate with my indulgences. I'm healthier, and I feel better spiritually, physically, and mentally. The more I consume, the heavier I become, the slower I become, the sadder I become. It goes on and on and on and on. You know, there's no problems that are going to be fixed with you drowning yourself in alcohol or smoking a bunch of weed. Now, if you just want to choose to do that one time out the month or a couple times out the month, that's a little different, because I believe in celebrating, and it's good to indulge every now and then. But when you get into that pattern of perpetuating that habit, that's when it becomes a big issue. And that's what the world's caught up in right now. So we need to be the example of something different. Doesn't mean we have to have complete abstinence from these things, but we have to show discipline. And we've got to do the good work too. So, all right, y'all. I love you guys, and I'm sorry I've been gone for a while. But like I said, I'm back. So, all right, I'll be making some more. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.